Did you know you have just entered Motivational Monday for your marvelous minds, right? Our brains. Ooh, that's fancy that it falls ways that way. Your brain is beautiful. I can see that it's working for you right now as we come together. It's listening to the words. Your ears are sending senses to the rest of your brain. You're pulling out the words you learned as a child and translating them in your brain all right now. The ultimate processor, the ultimate multitasker. Now you're doing all this while you're digesting breakfast and you're excreting hormones and chemicals. Wow, right? Let's give it some wow. Can we hear some wow? Wow. Wow. Even the brain is the only organ in the body that can actually think about itself. That's pretty cool. So marvel every single day at your brain. Wow, we have a left hemisphere, a right hemisphere. The left side calculates, uses logic, sends people to the moon. The right side, our creative selves, creates art, poetry, poems, creates new ways of doing things, like Jennifer and her group are creating new ways to live with dementia. Wow. And that's not just every other person, that's you. I want you to realize today that is sitting right here between your ears. And I believe, after spending lots of time in this building, it's never too late. It's never too late to use that magnificent brain in your head, in your skull, to do something fun with it. So, what about the brain? That is just so cool. See, somebody had the thoughts to wave away the slides. How fun. Yeah, so again, our brain is working for us 24/7, whether we ask it to or not, right? It helped you decide what clothes to wear today, how you were going to get here, calculate timing and driving and what time you needed to show up. You've done a lot of activities already, right? And it's early still. So it works all the time. It only weighs 3 pounds. Amazing. And it has so many thoughts, right? There are days where it has too many thoughts on top of thoughts, on top of thoughts, on top of thoughts, right? And let's just shut that down. All those thoughts, right? Coming and going. And it holds our memories. It helps us look at our grandchildren and shed a tear. It regulates emotions. It helps you enjoy the beautiful sunsets on the mountains. Lovely. And there is parts of it that actually get better with age. This thing called crystallized intelligence. Does anybody want to reveal their age? Anyone brave enough? Oops, somebody want to say?
74.
Okay, we have a 74 here.
77.
A 77. So recently, you want to give?
82.
82. Ooh, we have somebody to beat the 82.
89.
Ooh, everyone. So do you know the crystallized intelligence of people in their 90s is one of the greatest gifts we have on our planet. And it's the reason why we want to keep our brains healthy. So I recently heard age is referred to as in a video game, or as in any game that you play, as a level. So you're on level 77, level 89. It took all those years to accumulate all that knowledge, all those experiences, right? That is a marvel that we should be so proud of and preserve and keep safe and keep it going. So I'm only level 55, so you've got me, right? You have all those extra levels of time. Imagine Queen Elizabeth, all of the things she has experienced in her many, many years. It's so valuable as a leader, right, to pull from each drawer, each experience of what it taught her. So, however, our beautiful brains, they don't live in a box up by themselves. They're connected to the rest of the body. And the neurologists that I work with at the Cleveland Clinic, though, however, say it is the most important organ because the rest of the body is essentially designed to protect the brain. It sends energy, it sends its food, it's our skeletal system is designed when you fall, what do? You put your arms out. You'd rather break your arm than your head, right? We are already hardwired to protect the brain. It sits in an amazing ball of fluid, but it's all dynamic. And although we feel like we're hard-headed and nothing's changed, our bodies are constantly changing. There's cells being created and dying. It's a dynamic process all day long. Different hormones, different chemicals, stimuli changes things. Wow, wow, wow. Let's hear it again. Wow. Wow. So I want you to bring some appreciation to this magnificent body that we have, and it's like dynamic. And guess who is its partner? We are our own partner. And when we realize and bring appreciation to what's happening in our body every day, it's a wonderful time to realize, gosh, what I'm deciding to do with it, I can play a role. And this is where we start with brain health. It is magnificent. We want to protect it. And we have ways that we can do that, right? But we remember our bodies are changing every day, and it needs our input, food and things that we do to help it along so it can be maximized. So who wants to be a partner in their brain health today? Good. So I'm hoping as you go along, there is a sheet that says Healthy Brains in your folder. And as we go along, I really want you to pick an idea. Yes, I'll show you what it looks like. It's this one that says, how healthy is your brain? Okay, and as we go along, we're going to pick out, I want you to hear, if you hear something that is like, your body tells you, aha, I like that one. I want you to star it and write it down. Okay, because you're more likely to do something that sparks your attention. So as Jennifer kindly mentioned, I never you talk about it. I'm here because of these people. And when I was 6 years old, I got out the train with my dad. I went to the train station with my dad, and I was picking up my grandparents here. This is Boykin and Iris Hartley. They were avid travelers. They traveled, and they had gone across the country on train to the West Coast back to Florida, and my dad and I went to pick them up. And I was a 6-year-old little girl. Oh, goody, goody, goody. What did Grandma and Grandpa bring me? But my grandfather here, he gets off the train. And he looked at my dad with a very confused look. And he said, Sonny boy, I don't know where I am. And my dad was, what? You're home, Dad, you're home. And he was 58 when he asked that question. And this began the Hartley's family journey with Alzheimer's and dementia. And the 70s, sort of when, the 60s, when he was having these issues, we didn't know anything about Alzheimer's and dementia. And they actually did brain surgery on him, saying he had water on the brain. But in retrospect, it was a really rapidly form of dementia, and we lost him in his early 60s. And it had such a huge impact. How can this man, who had accomplished all these things that Americans value as far as had worked and achieved patents, all these, and just the kind of soul. It was really devastating to our family. But we weren't done. And then years later, my grandmother, she began exhibiting signs of what we would call today maybe mild cognitive impairment, but nobody was really paying attention. Maybe it was just old age things, people do. But my grandmother ended up having a very long decline, and I would say more typical of Alzheimer's disease type of dementia. And in the 15 years of her disease, our family experienced everything that families could possibly go through together. Who's caring for Grandma? Who's going to take care of her? Well, Uncle somebody is not helping. So I really got to, as a little girl and a teenager, hear these conversations. Meanwhile, I missed my grandparents. My grandmother here was a Hungarian immigrant, Olympic swimmer and diver. Literally had gone around the world several times after my grandfather passed. Beautiful home on the oceans of Florida. Lovely life, dressed to the nines. And in the end, she was that scary place of Alzheimer's, where she was about 92 pounds, unable to care for herself, speaking in her native tongue of Hungarian, and strapped to a bed in long-term care. And when I heard that, that was it for me. How could my beautiful grandmother have this kind of ending? So, back up. And my grandparents had these 4 boys, Duke, Alf, and Eric. And my dad is Larry, the skinny one in the middle. And they too, over the next decades, one by one, started showing signs. But it's funny when you're in it, you don't always recognize it. We didn't recognize what was happening, like I could probably spot today. And it's just, again, our family was experiencing behaviors and things that we go through. And it was really hard for me when my dad was in the throes, because I was that long-term caregiver. I was away and just trying to manage care from afar. And of course, I worked at the FDA, and everyone expected me to have the answer, the cure, and I knew it was a long way away. recently our family got together, and here's me and all my cousins. And how many of them came to me, what can we do? We're so scared. The third generation is now entering 50s and 60s, and after losing so many family members and a great deal of wealth and time and sadness spent to this, what can we do? And we're here today to talk about that to do. And that's take actionable hope. I believe there really is some actionable hope. After being in this disease for so long, I see the progression. I see the dementia efforts across the country, that we are making headway. There's more money invested in research than ever. There's more bright minds, that beautiful mind, working on this. So it's a great time for actionable hope. And one of those that the research has shown is that 30 to 40% of all dementias could possibly be prevented or delayed. Let's talk about that again. Prevented or delayed by lifestyle choices, modifiable things. Now that's a big number, right? That means there's something you can do to help. There is some genetic risk, like in my family, but even with genetic risk, it shows that making these changes matters. And participating in research actually is another way to help the cause going forward. It might be a way of helping your person or the future. So there's wonderful research opportunities available now too, even online ones. So let's hop in. Are you guys ready to talk about the 6 pillars of brain health? Okay, you got your papers, you got your pens. All right, you're going to come up with your plan today. Your plan starting today, and I would just even one thing in your lifestyle that you're going to change. Just one, because it's easy to stop. A long journey starts with the first step. Okay. So what's the number one thing you think you could do, change right now? That's right, exercise, I heard it. Ta-da! Get moving. Oh my goodness, we've gotten lazy. Our previous generations, they walked, they worked, they chores around the house, right? We were farming, washing. It was physical activity almost all day long, and after that, all that physical activity, everyone slept good. So we need to get some more movement. And so the brain and the heart, they are wonderful partners. And when the heart gets going, we get oxygen sent up to the brain to feed it. The brain sends back stuff it doesn't need. And so cardio activity is a wonderful thing to try to put in your life. And it's thought that we need 30 minutes 5 times a week. So who can handle 30 minutes of a walk? Yeah, maybe. 30 minutes of cleaning up your house with music on and putting a little something else into it. Right? How about squats at the dishes? I like trying that one. So there's ways to start being creative. Use the creative side of your brain. How can I creatively add activity in my life? Can you park the car at the end of the parking lot? Right? You can put the remote not on the couch, across the couch on the other chair. We've become a little too convenient. Convenience has created our sedentary lifestyle, so we need to try to do what we can. And why? Why physical activity? What's going on in the brain when we exercise? So I'm always that person, well, why are you telling me? What is the structure of what's happening? So it helps us improve our mood. It will have an increase in serotonin and these happy hormones that are actually like antidepressants, right? That it's your own natural body. Decreases in cortisol, the stress hormones. And it'll promote better sleep, which we'll get to as a pillar of brain health. And it triggers our blood flow to the brain. Again, that's the fuel to get the brain going. And again, just we need like about 30 minutes 5 times a week. And if you're very new to exercise, then take it slow, but just add something. We even have chair exercises. There's chair yoga. If you have knee or back issues, it's wonderful to do. But not only do we need to pump up our heart, we need to keep those muscles strong. This is very important in our will and strive to be independent longer. Our muscles atrophy a little bit as we age, and so we need to make effort to try to pump them up. Using soup cans, resistant bands. If you want to get on the floor and do some push-ups, that's great too. So anyway, we need to find ways that we can exercise our muscles, our heart, and then also flexibility and balance. Anybody ever try Tai Chi? Oh, good. Tai Chi is a wonderful balance exercise because it also calms the brain. You're supposed to like paint the pony, and you're waving, right? And you're having all this beautiful imagery at the same time. Yoga is a wonderful thing that you can do way till you make it into your hundreds. It's a great way to keep flexibility going and balance. So try something new in the exercise category. This will help your brain. And just make it attainable, right? I am never going to run the marathons that Casey runs. Not ever. But you have to pick something that's fun, because that's what you're going to stick to. I'm a dancer. I love dancing. Just put on some music and we'll just get going. So you got to find something maybe you enjoy doing. And sometimes it's fun to have a buddy. A buddy keeps you accountable. You know, if you told somebody you're going to go meet at the park to walk, you're more than likely to go if somebody else is coming. That's a great strategy. And creating a challenge. I was once at one of these lectures, and the group had a map across the United States. And they had met every Friday at an activity center that had a track, and they were walking across America at their center. They were counting steps and to see how far they could go across the country. Now, wasn't that fun? Without ever leaving, but they felt very goal-oriented, which was rewarding. And I think they had walked from Nevada to Kansas. Not bad. Oh, wait a minute, wait. Come back. Thank you. Okay, another thing that we can do is stand up for your brain health. So I'm asking you to stand up. Come on. We've been sitting already. Okay. Who wants to get the wiggles out? Roll your shoulders. Bring in that oxygen that your brain needs and loves. Okay, I see some, yes, wiggling going around. If that feels right for you. Certainly roll your shoulders. We're going to do some hula, a little hip. Don't be shy. Okay, it's all good. All right, good. And now, let's put your hands up as high as you can. All right, give me some jazz hands. I'm the dancer. Okay, good. And down to your ears, like you're about to hear something very important. Sitting is the new smoking.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, don't forget that. All right, you can sit down now. Woo! So every half hour, we should be standing up. There's gadgets that can remind us to stand up. During the commercials, stand up, stand up, stand up for your brain health. All right. These are some people I've met along the way. This is Lynn and Oscar. So they are now ballroom dancers. And it's fun when I say I want you to write down one thing you want to try, because that one thing could lead to so many other things. So Lynn and Oscar, Oscar had been a ballroom coach, but Lynn showed up one night. She wanted to pursue ballroom dancing, and it was her first lesson. She was in the room, and ultimately she ended up dancing with Oscar, and eventually they got married. So her desire to go exercise in a fun way just led to a series of steps. Now they are in competition, and they are a lovely couple, and now they invite other people to their home to teach them ballroom dancing. But what fun way to exercise. What fun way to find romance. It has led to other healthy activities just by deciding I'm going to go to ballroom dancing. And Oscar, he is a sweet romantic, wrote how dancing together has improved their marriage. It's another form of communication, of expressing their love for one another, enjoying music, which we know is good for brain health, but it's a marvelous activity. So sometimes maybe just signing up for that one class you're thinking about doing, you never know where it might lead. Okay. Have you ever heard the phrase, use it or lose it? So this could not be more true about your brain and your muscles, right? Even though with the aging process is happening every day, a little bit, it is up to us sometimes to make sure we're using our brains. And so in my mind, no one should ever retire. You're never done learning. You're never done exploring. You may quit that job that you worked at for 50 years, but it's not time to retire. To get in the lazy boy chair is not helping your brain health. All right, so no recliners. Honestly, you got to get out, and you still want to use that brain. Retirement is a wonderful time to explore all those things you didn't do, maybe while you were caring for family and caring for others and businesses and all the things that you're doing. So we really have good research that it's important to engage your brain actually every single day, and check you're doing it today. So as I mentioned, as we increase to our levels, level 75 and 74 and 77, this is a wonderful time for creativity. And look at all the 90-year-olds that are publishing books today. 90-year-old artist, right? It's time to pick up that paintbrush and use that part of your brain. Write something that is on your mind. Study. It's a wonderful time to study something new. Other research shows that learning new languages, learning a musical instrument, is one of the most powerful activities you can do for your brain. Who likes doing puzzles every day? Yeah, they're fun, right? And it's wonderful when you do the puzzle and you get better at that activity. But the research shows, too, that, and our scientists encourage you to try something new. Something new that might start out with confusion and, oh, this is tough. Tough is good. Tough is good to challenge that brain. Go back to some math. Woo! All those things you do on your cell phone now, maybe try them again, fresh. Reading is wonderful, reading and learning, if that's possible. Listening to a book rather than reading a book does different things with your brain, right? That's a way to switch it up. Having fun using your non-dominant hand, left hand, right hand. When you get dressed in the morning, try to reverse the order of the ways you've always done things. Is it always the right leg in the pant? Well, tomorrow I want you to try the left leg in the pant first. Give your brain some challenges every day. It's wonderful. Our doctors at the Cleveland Clinic say that you should really spend 20 to 30 minutes every day concentrating, really deeply concentrating on something new. Something intensive. You know that feeling when you're so focused and you feel your brain working? That's what we want. Oop. So meet my friend here, Betty Sue. Here we are again with maybe just doing one thing leads to another on the pathway. So Betty Sue here, she loved everything to do with France. She just resonated with the French. And so one day she said, I'm going to take French lessons. And she did. She signed up with the local community college, and here you go, she's taking French lessons. Then that led her to join the French club that was actually in Las Vegas. And then she decided her other passion was gardening. So she put the two together. She started visiting all the French cafes so she could practice her French with the French club. And ultimately, she started decorating the gardens outside the French the French cafes, to put her two loves together. And she got paid to do the gardens. Now look at this beautiful bicycle, French, very French. Looking outside the cafe, and this what was a nothing patio in Las Vegas. And so ultimately, guess what she did with her money? She went to France. She had even taken a French cooking lesson, and the woman owned a home in France and invited her to be there for a month. So one idea for brain health, to take French lessons. You never know where you're going to end up. Good for her. Good for her. All right. Guess what? That dynamic body of yours needs fuel. It needs, for all those cells, the cell repair. It needs the materials to do it every day. And where does that come from? What we're eating. So you are what you eat. Let thy food be thy medicine. What we're putting in our bodies is the fuel. So you, all of you are the finest sports car, beyond the finest sports car ever made. And we don't put cheap fuel in nice cars. Right? We need something that's going to give it its power. Power to do all those brainy acts, all those wonderful art creations that you're going to make, those trips you're going to take, the ballroom dancing lessons you're going to do. We need the fuel. And so what does that fuel look like? It looks like you've gone to France and Italy and around the Mediterranean. And all there is to eat is fish and veggies, nuts, fresh herbs, spices, lots and lots and lots of olive oil. Wonderful thing when they put that plate on your table and you get to dip the fresh made bread. Lovely. Let's all go. So again, there was an emphasis on fresh, right? More plants, fresh. Did I say fresh? It didn't have preservatives, not necessarily in packaging, right? And so we want to think our food is nourished. That word nourish is what we are after, to make that body, that beautiful brain of yours, maximize its potential. And you know what? And when we eat food that's not good for us, where the body has to process all that process, and it's exhausting. And maybe that's why sometimes you feel so tired after a not so good meal. Maybe it tasted good going down, but later you feel more fatigued. You know, lots of sugar. We know how that feels. And you're spending a lot of energy getting rid of what the body can't use. So think about it in that terms too. And so as I mentioned, you want to have, the term is nutrient dense, right? So for all the calories you're consuming, you want those things that you're eating to have lots of things that are good for you. Those vitamins, the minerals, the phytochemicals, all these fancy terms, that means it's going to match up with your body to help it work better. Have you ever noticed that a walnut looks like a brain? Mama Nature is saying, hey, eat me for your brain health. Walnuts are nutrient dense. They have omega-3 fatty acids. It's a fatty acid that your body can't produce, but your brain needs. So, have you ever cut a piece of cauliflower in half? The cruciferous vegetables. They look like a brain with a brain stem. Clues. Our clues are wonderful clues. So more grains, more whole grains, nuts, berries. It's berry season. Who doesn't love a blueberry and a strawberry? Wonderful power-packed snacks. Those are your Skittles, okay? Have the berries. And spices. Let's move the salt shaker off the table and put more spices. If you're a gardener, one of the easiest things to do is to grow herbs in a window. We can even do that down in Las Vegas. They have so many antioxidants and phytochemicals that help us do the fuel, give us the fuel and the supplements instead of in a pill. This is what Mother Nature wants you to have. There's some research around cinnamon, turmeric, and ginger as being really powerful antioxidants for brain health. So instead of maybe when you're having that coffee, try sprinkling a little cinnamon in there and start your day out right. Well, let's see. Diets to follow. I don't always say, oh, go do a diet. I want you to change your lifestyle. I want to slowly pick things that you can put in. But if you want to study one, the DASH diet is low in sodium and follows sort of the Mediterranean ideas. Also, legumes and beans. Beans are cheap. Beans are easy to fix. They have a lot of the B vitamins that are very vital to brain health. All right. So.
What's for
Oh, let's go back. You know what? I'm sorry I didn't say that. So fermented food is like sauerkraut, pickles that have been, I saw his face. I'm not a big sauerkraut. But that has the natural bacteria in it. Kombucha. Yes, the kombucha. This is natural bacteria that helps your gut health. So some research is showing now that our gut health is maybe driving what's happening with problems in the brain. Our vagus nerve goes down and stimulates our gut, and there's so many neurons actually down in the gut. So we need to keep our gut health happy too. Fermented foods or yogurts, things that have those bacteria in it. But these are still in the works of science. We're still working in these, but we know these things are better than our processed meals, our fast food meal. Okay, what are you drinking? Well, hello. Water. Are we drinking enough water? As we age, we lose our ability to kind of sense our sense of thirst as well. Our bodies are made up of a lot of water. The brain is made up of a lot of water. Dehydration can present as dementia, as a form of dementia. So, yeah, drink up, drink up, drink up. Yeah, good. Water cooler right back there. And in our desert climates, even more so. Increased activity, more so. And it actually can help you stabilize weight. Actually, it's a role in weight loss. And how many ounces do you need? I had gotten this, that you take your weight in pounds and divide by 2. That'll give you an idea. So all of you doing the math right now, good for you. No calculators. No phones. All right. So meet Pam. Pam's has lived the journey of dementia as well, as her mother had passed away from Alzheimer's disease. And she, too, has gone on this mission to learn more about brain health and implement it in her life, and then educate others. She's a physical fitness person, so she had that box checked. But as she went through her own journey with this, she realized, I gotta be honest. My diet, not so good. I look fit, but I'm not putting in the fuel. And so just as we were talking about, she decided she's going to make some changes. And so she ended up going to local farmers markets, a great place to go. Things are fresh, right? They've just hopefully just been pulled from where they came from. It's a chance to socialize. But she signed up for a program where she got a vegetable box every week. So she got something different, which made her try stuff. Try stuff for the first time. And she found out she really liked vegetables. So it's maybe a good tactic for you too. All right. How is everybody sleeping? Are you asleep now? Have I put you to sleep? Back in the back. Are you awake? Ooh. Okay, we're in a dimly lit room. I'll give that to me. So sleep. Did you know this is vital to your brain health? There has been a wealth of research around sleep and its connection to dementia and heart disease. So this is a part of your life that you really should baby, you should take care of. This is back to being a good partner. And sometimes we have to start over and break our old habits of doing things to get there. So generally, and this is different for every individual, but somewhere with 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Again, that varies on who you are and kind of how you've been your whole life. And it's vital that we spend time in adequate sleep. And adequate sleep is when you spend a lot of time really in a deeper phase of sleep. Because while you're doing that, we found out that your brain is in the dishwasher cycle. Okay? It's scrubbing neurons, it's putting neurons together, it's cleaning the dishes, it's getting the debris off, it's sending stuff out. In one study, they had a group of people, younger people, I believe, but they kept them, they monitored their activity one night while they were sleeping well, and then they kept them up to see what would happen. And they found out that the nights that they were kept up, that amyloid protein that's associated with dementia was highly elevated in their cerebrospinal fluid. So just missing one night's sleep changed the whole dynamics of what was happening with their body. And we know we're not all that alert and as clear after we've missed some sleep. True? Yeah. Jet lag, we've lost sleep, patterns change. Gosh, it's hard to be your same perky self when you have lost some sleep. And it really can lead to some serious health problems, and dementia being one of them. All right. So the best way is to be consistent. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. This gets your circadian rhythm, what we call, in flow. All those hormones and chemicals that are released during that time get regulated. And all right, we got to go back to being kids. We need a nice routine, a nice tuck-in, what I call. You want to be really not sleeping like a baby. They don't sleep well, right? You want to sleep like a 9-year-old. Played outside all day, had a great time, has no problems. All right, and I'm going to bed. And I sleep really sound. So, hour before bed, everything needs to wind down. Take it easy, calm. Let's bring in some gratitude. Thank you for this pillow. Thank you for Jennifer Carson putting this together today. Thank you for this team. Thank you for all these things I have. Gratitude is a wonderful way to get your mind ready for a good night's sleep. And also not having a bunch of lights on in your room. Now we have so many electronics in our room, glaring lights everywhere. You do need to have some light if safety or falls are an issue, but having all the glowing electronics really can hit the gland in your body that kind of says, maybe we need to be awake. Have the TV on, part of your brain is still processing what's being said. So quiet, dark, cold. Our body temperature fluctuates. There's research saying around 63, in the 60s, your room needs to be cold. Some of our sleep specialists send people on camping trips to get their sleep regulated again with the stars and the moon. Having dark is really important. So baby, you're asleep like a 9-year-old. And again, our lives can be stressful, right? We have a lot to do, we have a lot to think about, we have a lot of stimuli, a lot of negative stimuli coming in at all times. And how are we going to stay sure of ourselves, knowing that we are amazing, all of you, and you have stuff you want to do, right? So we have to find ways that we can rest every day. I loved hearing, I think it was Eckhart Tolle says, we're not human doings, we're human beings. Human beings. It's great to take time to be. That means doing nothing, not overthinking everything. So what are ways that we do that best? You live in the most beautiful place. Go outside, take your shoes off, get barefooted again like a kid. That's fun. Find your inner child. Laugh. Ha ha. It's so much fun to laugh. Gosh, it releases stress. Maybe watch an old sitcom or Carol Burnett or somebody that always makes you laugh no matter what happens. It's a wonderful way to relax. Does anybody use meditation? Does anybody try it? Good. Yes. Wonderful. It's maybe foreign to some of you. Meditation, nobody talked about that much years ago, but now it's ever so popular, and society is realizing how these techniques can help us maximize our brain health, our thoughts, by just learning to be and feeling your own inner strength. It's a wonderful thing. How am I on time?
15, or wait, 20 minutes.
Woohoo! Woohoo! It's everybody back row. Are awake? Are we awake? Hello, back row. Woo! All right. Has anybody started something yet on their page? What they're going to do? Ooh, good. Okay, I got one person. Very good. All right. So we are going to take time, maybe today, to go outside, and some of the things might touch a tree. If you're a tree hugger type, just learn to find that inner something, right, that can keep us grounded. And sometimes the easiest way when you're feeling stressed or depressed, anxious, is to go to your breath. I think humans can't live without that oxygen for, I think, around 3 minutes. It is that vital. It's the most vital thing that we can do. So let's everybody, at your own pace, really just take in a real deep breath from your belly. And let it out. Oh, there goes whatever it was. Yes, right? It's the simplest thing you can do when someone cuts you off in traffic. I am not going to raise a hand at all at that person. I'm going to breathe and let it go. I'm going to breathe when someone said something ouchy to me. Just to give yourself that sense of finding yourself again and strength. So that's a wonderful thing. And then, of course, as we said, this body of ours is dynamic. It's sending oxygen to your brain. There's a release of nitrous oxide. We calm. It brings in the calm. And when we're calm, our brain really will work better. It will provide you the appropriate words to say back to that someone who said something ouchy. You'll find you'll be able to respond rather than react. So it's a wonderful technique, and it's always available. No app needed. So just breathe. And guess what 2020 lockdown showed us? We need people. We can't stand it. We need each other. There's a lot going on when we interact with our eyes and our body language and processing. The brain is engaged when we're with a friend, when we're in a social situation. Isolation really can lead to depression and feeling a sense of loss, and so we really do need our friends. You do need your friend and your community. And it helps us feel like we have purpose in our lives. And these things have been scientifically studied to matter to your brain health and how you can maximize it. And so, great way to connect with your neighbor, just smile at the grocery store. You don't have to say anything. It's a wonderful way to have your eyes connect to another human. And volunteer. Who volunteers? I bet this community has lots of volunteers. Wonderful. Volunteering is a reward, it's a cyclical reward. You're helping somebody else, and you're helping yourself at the same time. So a wonderful way to maximize your brain health is to contribute your talents, your smile, your gifts to others around you. Lovely. And sometimes that is even calling someone that you know may be isolated. Doesn't take a lot of effort or time. These are wonderful things that you can do to help your brain health while you help someone else. Okay, who's got pets? All right, a lot of pet. Let's see the dog people. Okay, good. Kitty cats. I know Jennifer's one. Oh, you got anything? Birds? Oh, chickens. How about you in the back? Oh, cockatiel. Yes, good. Pets are wonderful brain health coaches. They are. They keep you present because they make sure you can't think of anything else. Right? Especially those dogs. Hello, 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 hello. Let's go for a walk. Go for a walk. I don't care what you got to do. You've got dishes? We don't care. We want to go. They're wonderful. Sense of security, something to focus on. We love our pets, and they make us get off the couch. They make us go do things. You've got somebody to talk to that likes you. Sometimes cats act like they don't like you. But you learn to love them unconditionally, right? Yes. Birds, great. Wow, conversations. They're fun to have. My kids and I have 2 boys, Max and Hank. And one time we went to San Francisco and their kids delighted. Took my father, it was one of his last trips we had. It was a very special time. We get to the hotel, and Mrs. Hartley, the manager, says, would you like a pet for your room? What? The kids are backflipping behind me. Woohoo! Pet, yeah, Mom, yeah. Okay. So I didn't ask any questions. We went out, we came back, and entered the room, and there was a beautiful bowl. And it had blue pebbles and a little mermaid. And there was the most gorgeous orange goldfish. And not only was he beautiful, he had a name tag. His name was Barnabas, and he had fish food. And how cute, how smart of that hotel. When you ask my children about their trip to San Francisco, Barnabas. What an impact, right? To care for something, I hope we didn't kill it by dumping all the food in. Anyway, our pets can make us happy. They really, truly do. When this guy, oh my goodness, meet Lewis. Lewis is my brain health hero. I was at an outreach just at like a fair, and he came up bag full of, what can I do? I had never met someone so engaged in what he could do for himself. I was just saying, he was so inspirational to me. And he had run a carpet cleaning business all his life. He had retired. He had always ran. He was a runner. He would run 6-8 miles. I think he'd been in the military before. And he wasn't quitting. He came to me, I want to live to 100. I want to live to 100 independently. I said, all right, Lewis, you've found your girl. I said, I'm going to help you with this part. He said, good, because that's why I come to these health fairs to seek information. He was coming to help himself, and he really meant it. I love that. And so he said, listen, when I'm told something will help me, I try to do it. I try to do it. And I'm the only one who can do it. And so but now he says, listen, my knees are killing me. I can't run 8 miles. But now I walk 2. Every day, every day. And he says, and then he said, Kat, you got to come to my bowling league. All right, you're bowling? I'm coming. And I said, so I met him there. And this man, who's now in his, I think he's 88 here, 89, was running this bowling league like a business. He was taking money. He was arranging teams. He was organizing everyone. Everyone was listening to him. He organized people bringing food. He organized the teams. I said, can you organize me having the bumpers up? But he was amazing, and he is still doing well. He really just exemplified all the categories of brain health. He was active. He was making changes. He was making changes that were right for him, and he wanted to do it. And he realized he was the person to do it. So more Lewis, more Lewis. So find your thing. He was staying social, right? He was not stopping. Wonderful guy. And as we mentioned before, and our brains don't sit up here by themselves. It is connected to the rest of us. So we know all those other health conditions do impact the brain. And these are these modifiable things that we can work on to change. High blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, weight management. These things all can impact and make a difference. Smoking. Smoking is, I think you have 3 times the risk with Alzheimer's disease. We have a lovely pamphlet that talks about smoking and risk with all other diseases, which is wonderful. And maybe you need to floss. What does teeth have to do with dementia? When we have gum disease, we're finding now that the inflammation from the gum disease can create some inflammation going on in the brain. Maybe flossing is on your list of things you're going to do tonight. Go see the dentist. We are actually looking and doing some real clinical trials around dental health and brain health. Hearing loss, these are one of those modifiable risk factors that you can change. We have found that midlife hearing loss leads to a greater risk of dementia. And if you sit down and pull that out, you can understand why. Because if you can't hear well in conversations, you stop engaging in conversations. You stop using language. You stop processing a lot of vocabulary words. And so this is something I hope one day that good hearing aids will be covered for everyone who needs them. But that is certainly a risk factor to consider. Well, and vision, right? Our brains are a sensory organ. It's just taking in. And so let's use all our tools that we have to help that brain out. So that's glasses and hearing aids and going to the dentist, everything you've been told. And keeping your blood pressure in check. Why is this so hard? This part right here. I want everyone to feel their inner Lewis today. Like that guy that comes to the table and says, yes, it's Motivational Monday. I want to keep my mind sharp. Yes, I do. Who wants to keep their mind sharp? Yes. We're going to start today. Okay, that's what we have is today, right, to start. You know what? I bet there's lots of people that love you. And they want you to be here to enjoy them for a long time as best you can. And so if it's not for you, maybe it's for your loved ones that you're going to make some changes. Who here's, I think we had a hands up, who's caring for someone else? Me too, yeah. Put on your mask first. I'm a family care partner too. I spent many years doing it martyr style, I would call it, where you just throw yourself on the stake and give until you can give no more, or you yourself are sick. Do these things for you first, and you can influence others over time. I have a special needs brother, and I care for my mother now. And I find if I come out and say, you have to eat your vegetables to my brother, and you now have to eat nuts, and you have to do all these things, guess what I get back? I actually, one day, got saluted by my brother. Yes, sir. And I said, ooh, maybe as a care partner, I'm not being a care partner right now. I'm being a care commandant. So I do respect when you're caring for someone. Maybe they're not ready for changes. A husband, maybe, sometime, or a spouse, or a kid. So first start with you. Be the Lewis. You be the one making the changes for yourself. Then you can use your creative mind to get others to come with you, right? You can creatively just put on the plate the vegetables and see what happens. Put them in the smoothie. I've become very sneaky to get nutrition and walks in. We have to go for a walk for your brain health. Oh no, let's go enjoy the beautiful sunset. Right? There's different ways to do it. We talked already about Nancy Nelson. Nancy, she is an amazing person. She was first diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in 2013. She was re-diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment later at the Cleveland Clinic. And this woman is a dynamo. Since then, she's gone on and written 3 poetry books. She has been a public speaker. We run Dementia Conversations on Friday together. She is an inspiration for somebody living well with dementia, and she's not stopping. And she decided, though, that she had to make changes. She had high blood pressure. She had some lifestyle things. Her love for ice cream had to shrink down to maybe once a month. So she too, even with the diagnosis, knew it was up to her to somewhat take charge and make changes. I hope you'll get to meet her. And she got a dog. She adopted a dog for her health too. So what can you do? You can go, we have an app for this, healthybrains.org. We went to the most reasonable funder for Alzheimer's prevention. That was Caesar's. Caesar's Palace, can you imagine? The gaming industry handing over lots of money to create a brain health app to help you on your journey. That's pretty cool. We launched this in 2015 because we saw that these risk factors are important. And next time I come, I want one of you to be right here. After today, you made amazing changes. Maybe you signed up for a class. Maybe you have taken an Italian cooking school class. And you can tell me about your trip to Italy and all the wonderful people you met and engaged with. or the garden you started at your home, all these things. So we can put your photo here next. I know you can do it. I want you to do it. You're beautiful. Your brain is beautiful. Who feels like their brain is beautiful now? Oh, it's so lovely. Thank you, brain. Thank you, brain. Well, thank you. All right, that does it. Thank you.